Today I'm going to talk about multitasking or do one task at a time. Which one's better? First point, if you're multitasking, you are not going to be able to put your full attention on anything. Where there's two tasks, three tasks, four tasks, whatever it is, your attention is split. As opposed to one task, you are putting all your attention on that one thing. And so the problem is when you're multitasking, you don't do multitasking through all these different tasks as good as if you're focusing on one thing. And the other thing is, if you're multitasking, there's a good possibility that you're probably going to be better at one part of that multitask process and not so good at some other parts. Now, when you think about going and applying for a job, one of the things they want to know is, can you multitask? Can you do a lot of different things at once? If you just do one task at a time, if that's where your focus is, then it allows you to focus better on that one task. More of your attention can go to that one task as opposed to you splitting a little bit of your attention here, a little bit of your focus here, a little bit of your focus there. And then if you kind of miss one because you're focusing on so many areas, like, hey, I've done all these, I've done area three, four, five, and one, but you forgot area two because you're so focused on those four areas, as opposed to focus on one area, then your attention can be on that one area. And the other thing, if you have one task in front of you, you can still break that task down. Like, you just don't have to be like, hey, I'm going to go all in and never look up on that one task. I'm just going to focus on it all the way to the end. You can break it up and break it down to get that one task done. Now, next thing about this is you're going to work on more things when you multitask, but you're probably going to get less done because you can't get as much done to each individual things when you are multitasking. You'll get a little bit done here, a little bit done there, a little bit done here, and a little bit done at this other thing. And so you'll be working on like four or five things, maybe more than that, but you won't get as much done. Here's a good example. Say you want to clean up just one side of your room. You're like, hey, I want to clean that up. I have been putting it off, and now's the day. Or you say, hey, I'm going to clean that room, but also going to clean the bathroom. And I'm going to go from there and start, clean up in the kitchen. And I'm also going to start some laundry. And so you have these four different things going on instead of just that one task of cleaning up that side of the room. Now, if you think that you're going to get done with all four of those things before you clean up the room, then that's not probably going to happen, right? You're going to have to still clean up the room, but now you've added three or four things that you have to do as well. And so your attention is on those four things at once, or you can focus all your attention on one thing and keep going through that one thing until you get done. And one of the things you have to realize with multitasking is you have to do a lot of starting and stopping. You have to do starting at one task, then stopping, then moving on to the next task, and then starting that, and then stopping again, and then moving on to whatever other task you have to do. As opposed to if you have just one task, you can start on that task. You might take a break, but you come back and start doing the same task again. Now, with ADHD, there is kind of this issue of when you start a task and then have to stop a task, it takes you about 10 to 15 minutes, I think, to get back into the groove of that next task that you want to do. So each time you're doing that process, you have to go through the process again of getting focused on that task, as opposed if you just do one task, you go in, you're focused. You take a break, yeah, you're gonna come back. You're gonna take a little while to get back in the focus mode to that one task, but it's probably not gonna take you as long because when you left, you came back to do the same task. And so you're not coming back to a completely different task where you might have to have a different mindset on the second task and the third task, as opposed to just the one task that you have in front of you right now. And I think, in my opinion, one of the things that is going to be good about doing just one task at a time is when you leave, take a break, or whatever, you come back, you know that you were doing this one task. You know, hey, I was doing it before. I remember now. I'm going to go ahead and get back into it. As opposed to if you have multiple tasks that you were doing before and then you come back from a break, whatever, then you have to try to remember, okay, which of all these tasks was I doing before? Was I starting on this one? Was I starting on that one? Okay, I'm going to do this one. Now let me check and make sure that I have all the other things I need for all these other tasks. And then you might just forget one, right? You might be like, hey, I did all these other tasks, and you go through and then you go through and you check and you're like, man, I did all these things and they all relate to this one other task. I forgot to do that one. And another thing to think about is that when you have one task, when you're focusing just on that one, you're able to put all your effort into that one task. You're devoting your attention, your focus, your effort all into one task. You're probably going to get done sooner focusing on that one task, unless that one task is such a long term task that you have to do. But that is a case by case basis to where you have just two wildly different lengths of tasks that you were trying to do. So what do you think about everything I said about multitasking and then also doing one task at a time? Are these things that you have thought about before? Are there new things in here that you're like, hey, I didn't think about that. Now I do. Or are there other points you have about multitasking and doing one task at a time? I'd love to hear about all of that in the comments. Also, if you want to know more about reaching your goals, then go ahead and click this video right here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful and great day. I'll talk to you later.